BMW විකුණු පාන විතරක්ම වෙන්නේ නැති ගන්න.
ඕන වාහනයක් ගන්නවා.
පරණ වාහනයක්
ගන්නවා.
පාර්ට්ස් හැම හොයා ගන්න අමාරු කාර් එකක්
ගන්නවා.
සල්ලි ගන්න විකුණනකන් ඉන්න වෙන්නේ.
පැය 3න් සල්ලි දෙනවා.
ලීසින් කරලා තිබුණොත්
ලීස් එක සෙටල් කරලා අපි ගන්නවා.
කොකටත් එක ෂුවර් කරගන්න හැබැයි.
අපෙන් නොගත්තත් අපි ගන්නවා.
The ability to thrive in chaos. That's a sign of a strong, successful business, a sign of a strong entrepreneur. The market that we are seeing in Sri Lanka is indeed one filled with chaos, from inflation to shortages of goods, and the list simply goes on. But amidst all this pandemonium, we still see entrepreneurs doing well, thriving in the chaos. And here in Bisnomics, in your weekend's most profitable 60 Minutes, today, we bring to you the story of one such entrepreneur. Globally, the wellness industry is valued at more than $4 trillion. The need to feel good about oneself is one need that cannot be taken away no matter how bad things may get in an economy. And how exactly has this market developed in Sri Lanka? What are the potential opportunities? And most importantly, cosmetics, the need to look good, to appear good. Once again, a need that will not go away no matter how bad things become in the economy. How have all these developed in the last few months? And what are the potential future trends? You might probably want to know about these things. Today, we bring to you the story of Durga Kenny, who is the founder CEO of Be Waxed and Goddess Cosmetics. Durga, absolute pleasure to have you. Indeed, an inspiring story you have to share with us, and welcome to Bisnomics.
Thank you, Taranju. I'm so excited to be here, and I can't wait. Get
Well,
started.
Absolutely. Let's get started. I like that, a sign of a good entrepreneur. You get right to the point. Durga, now we hear this word wellness market. We hear this term wellness industry. But in your experience, what exactly, how do we define wellness as a business market, and what does it all entail?
You see, Taranju, the wellness market is multidimensional. I mean, it moves into so many sectors, be it spiritual, mental, emotional, and of course, fitness, nutrition. So it's many sectors within this market. And it's now that we're seeing a lot of brands and services coming up to the front to provide the necessary spiritual enrichments and fitness, be it. So wellness really is that. It's basically moving to healthier habits, better health, better fitness, better nutrition, better appearance. People are obsessed with appearance.
Correct.
So
because you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Exactly. So people are really high now. The consumer is high on feeling better, moving towards better living. And that to you is the wellness market.
Interesting indeed. So all these services we hear, it can be about like dieting advice services, it can be salons. Am I right? All these things will belong to the wellness market. Am I right, Durga?
Absolutely, yes.
So let's talk about your journey, and I would like you to take time and elaborate on your experience on this as well. Durga, your journey in this wellness sector, when did you realize that this is where you want to play in, that this is the space you want to be in, and what has your journey been in that?
I felt like there was a lack in the market for what we offer now, which is professional waxing. And I wanted it to be more of an experience. I believe that's important to the consumer, to have a full experience rather than just providing a service or a good. It needed to be a whole experience. And this is what I felt was lacking at the time when we did start Be Waxed. We wanted to give it more prominence. It was a service within salons that were not given enough prominence.
Correct.
And
like a side service at
exactly.
that time.
And what we've done now over the years, 9+ years we've been doing this, and over the
Congratulations on the journey.
Thank you.
Yes, wish us too many more.
Thank you. It's been a magnificent one. So we want to create an experience. We feel that's where we are contributing to the wellness market by giving the consumer an experience rather than just providing a service. And that's the reason we started, and we keep pushing forward.
Durga, now if you take 10, 15 years ago, especially somewhere closer to the time that you started, we saw that this topic of waxing, it's not something that people would openly speak about or even come and request from a salon and so on. It is somewhat of a topic that people, consumers, tend to be a little shy to discuss with. But how did you experience that when you started? And then how have you seen the trend changing over a time period?
So you are most correct. When we did start, it was a taboo to talk about, and people were very hesitant to call up and put an appointment, especially with intimate waxing. So I think that we broke those barriers. Us as a brand, we put it out there, we marketed it differently, and we made the consumer feel like it was nothing to be embarrassed about, because
it is okay to
exactly
get that as a service. Yes.
Exactly, because it's also hygienic. That was the other approach for us. So I think we broke those barriers, and now it's amazing how far and how people and consumers now would advertise it more freely now, if you see, and it has completely changed now. Absolutely, they are very open about the service they require. They're not shy about it, like 9 or 10 years back.
Interesting thoughts there. Durga, then comes the biggest game change of all time in 2020, COVID-19. I mean, yes, 2019 to the world, but I think it caught on with Sri Lanka in 2020. What has been the impact on the wellness sector due to COVID-19? People were stuck at home. They still needed the wellness though, but people were stuck at home. They were concerned. They couldn't go out. So how did you see COVID-19 having an impact on the wellness sector overall?
Actually, yeah, you're right, because pre-COVID, the wellness industry was on the rise. And when COVID struck, consumers made their home center stage. They were locked inside, so they had to adjust their lifestyles. And actually, within the wellness sector, there were so many, within the wellness economy, there are so many sectors. I apologize. So within that, the sectors that required a physical presence suffered. So whereas the certain other sectors that didn't require physical presence within the wellness economy thrived. So, at home, if people were at home, they were making home their center stage. There were fitness apps, there were videos that you could watch. You could get food delivered home. So those sectors thrived. However, sectors like mine, which require physical presence.
Correct. And a physical contact.
Exactly. We suffered because there was no way we could provide our service over a delivery system or, over a station.
Correct.
So it had, so COVID basically, I think that it made consumers need to change the way they thought about their lifestyle and their fitness, and they adjusted accordingly during the lockdowns. However, now with lockdowns not in place, we find that now our sector is thriving again because people want that second chance. They want to get better, eat healthier, look better, feel better mentally, because I think a lot of people suffered mentally during the lockdowns.
Absolutely.
So now it's almost as if you get a second chance at life. And so now you will see many sectors within the wellness economy on the rise.
So there's a boom that we are experiencing right now.
Absolutely, yes.
Now, Durga, in your experience, now you've started with one outlet, but you've grown this into a chain, and I believe you are also operating in some of the other foreign countries as well, or the plans are in the pipeline. And we are very happy to hear Sri Lankan wellness brand going global, and I'm sure that in the years to come we can discuss of it as a case study of success.
Yes.
Now, as you grow, how do you really manage that growth in terms of the talent, the people? Because maybe when you have one wellness center, you can be managing, but you can't be managing a chain of 10 plus outlets like that. So how do you really, what is your mantra for managing the people, their skill, getting them trained? Because I believe initially there might have been issues in getting people to work as well, because due to various reasons and due to various nefarious entities that operate under the tagline of wellness sector, the sector did not have the best of images for people to work. So how did you manage this? And am I right in my statement that it would have been tough to get the people?
Yes, absolutely. It was very tough in the start, and you know, we faced a lot of issues because we did take staff internationally to train. However, down the line we lost them. So actually, we have set up training within our company with a head trainer, plus myself, and we train the staff. However, it is difficult, and yes, you are right. Sadly, the sector here does not have the best, because in terms of
best reputation.
Exactly, because people get a different impression when you say you're a spa or a salon.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is tough. Training is very hard. However, we want to be specialized, and like I said, going back to giving a consumer an experience with us. In fact, we recently launched aromatherapeutic waxes, which gives you a more relaxed space during your wax. Here again, going back to giving a consumer more of an experience than just providing a service.
Correct. So, as you said, it's very important to differentiate yourself from the rest. But now, do you see that even the employees, that there are people who are willing to come and work in a professional spa because they realize that it's very different to what the society commonly thinks of? Do you see that mindset changing now?
Yes, I do, and actually, you know, I'm so happy because and proud to say that now, as we've grown as a brand, we have many beauticians and many people within this sector and field reaching out to us and wanting to, looking out for jobs within our establishment, which is wonderful. So,
so the times are changing and the trend is changing in a good way.
Exactly, which is wonderful to see.
Interesting. What is Sri Lanka's potential as a wellness tourism destination? Let's talk about that on the other side of this short break. This is Bisnomics.
අංකල් සැම්සන් එයාගේ කාරක විකුණන්න තීරණය කළා. ඇඩ් එක දැම්ම විතරයි. සට ගාලා කට්ටිය එන්න ගත්තා. හැබැයි
මගේ අම්මෝ තව ලක්ෂ දෙකක් අඩුවෙන් කරමුද?
ඕපන් පේපර්ස් කරමු.
මට ඔය හිරේ විලංගු වෙන වැඩ කරන්න නම් බෑ.
මේක හොඳ ගානකට විකුණලා දෙන්න. හැබැයි මීටරේ නම් පොඩ්ඩක් කරකවන්න වෙයි.
ඇයි ඉතින් බොරු කරලා විකුණන්නේ? ජෙනුයින් මයිලේජ් එකයි සර්විස් රෙකෝඩ් ඔක්කොමයි තියෙනවනේ.
අංකල් සැම්සන්ට වාහන විකුණන එක එපා වුණා. AMW වෙතින් ඕනෑම වාහනයක් කරදරයක් නැතුව විකුණ ගන්න. අපෙන් නොගත්තත් අපි ගන්නවා.
Welcome back to Bisnomics, your weekend's most profitable 60 minutes. I'm Tharandu Amarasekara. Our focus today is on the potential of the wellness sector. What are the economic and the business opportunities in there? And as an entrepreneur in this sector, what do you need to know about? And we are in conversation with someone who not only talks about this, but has walked her talk, who is none other than the founder CEO of BWaxed, it's Durga Kenny. Durga, let's talk about innovation, because as a country, Sri Lanka is often blamed for not being innovative enough in various industries, whether it's our tea, whether it's our rubber, etc. So how important is innovation in the wellness sector? And I know we can always talk about the importance, but how have you approached this sector with innovation? Because you can't grow and not just survive, but thrive in this sector without innovation. So you've done it clearly. What was your approach? Let us know the secret sauce.
I need to share my secret sauce with you.
Absolutely.
So innovation, absolutely, it's so important, Tharandu. I mean, you need to stay on top of the game. You need to be constantly providing. Your brand and your services need to constantly provide new approaches to the service, like I said, to the experience. Everything, you need to just be constantly on top of the game. You need to research constantly, train more, train your staff. And I think that's been our approach, really, to be constantly focused on new techniques and new ways and provide that to the client. And I think many brands fail short of this because they stay to old ways instead of looking towards the future and finding new ways to go forward.
Durga, now, wellness sector traditionally was seen to be one where it was more female dominant. But I believe over the last few years, whether it's wellness or whether it's cosmetics, I believe cosmetics also comes under the wellness sector. And if you look at the wellness sector, we have seen the emergence of the male consumer in this sector. And we hear so many stories about how the cosmetic sector is having so much of male consumers now and how it's one of the biggest and the highest growing markets. Do you see in Sri Lanka also this trend changing where more men are becoming concerned and about the wellness and coming into even your establishment to get the professional services? Do you see that happening?
I have actually. In the last 5 years, I can honestly say that I have seen a huge rise in men's grooming here in Sri Lanka, and I love it. I love that we here in Sri Lanka as well could have men's grooming because it was something that was lacking prior. And now I can see that. You're right, even in cosmetics, from face washes to personal and beauty care products. There's more of a range out there now in the Sri Lankan market, which is really wonderful to see.
So men are moving beyond the body sprays and the perfumes?
Yes, they are. They're moving towards, you know, facial cleansers to scrubs. They're also looking to maintain themselves, as you like to call it, and have a better appearance.
Good news for Sri Lankan women.
Yes, yes.
Let's talk about wellness tourism. Now, once again, globally we see so many tourists going to various destinations for wellness purposes. I mean, let's face it, if you look at Indonesia, Bali is famous for their spa-related services. Thailand is another destination, and there are so many other countries. We see a lot of tourists going to India for wellness tourism purposes, for the Ayurvedic
yoga retreats.
The yoga retreats, that's right. So, amidst all this, do we see Sri Lanka coming into the picture as well? Yes, we have our yoga retreats. Yes, we have all the professional spas and the wellness professional service provisions, etc. But still, we don't really hear of Sri Lanka as one of the top-notch destinations that people look forward to traveling for wellness purposes. Durga, in your honest opinion, as someone who is in this industry, what is our potential in the global wellness tourism market, and where are the opportunities?
We have so much potential. We have so much potential. I mean, we have traditional and complementary medicine here, Ayurveda.
Correct.
And we have the spaces. Sri Lanka is a beautiful island. We can offer many retreats in conjunction with the holistic approach, which is Ayurveda. However, I feel like it's not been promoted enough. We haven't created the brand well enough. We haven't pushed it out there. And you're correct, in Thailand there's medical tourism, and people go there for cosmetic surgeries and so on. And you're right, in Indonesia with the spa and the massage, the traditional Balinese massages. It's really sad that Sri Lanka hasn't risen to the occasion and captured the consumer that's out there, that's willing to have this experience. And we could offer that.
So the tourists who come to Sri Lanka, the foreigners who are here on holiday, Durga, do you see the ones who have experienced what we have to offer, do you see good reviews and good feedback from them?
You do. However, I think that there needs to be a center that really looks at the experience and the service being provided by the centers, because there is a possibility that you will not have a good experience.
Correct.
Should you go to an inexperienced Ayurvedic therapist.
So that brings me to my next question, the role of regulation. Because, for example, the word spa, and this is a very, this might be a controversial question that I'm asking, but I think it's what that needs to be addressed. If you take a spa, the image that people have of a spa will not be most of the time a very good one, because of certain establishments, certain little organizations that are providing different levels of service provisions under the name of spa. Because, for example, Durga, we see certain spa brands in Sri Lanka which are very popular even worldwide, and they operate as a spa, tourists go there, etc. And at the same time, You will also see a tiny room somewhere with the lights lit up at night with the board saying spa. So where exactly is the demarcation? How do we really differentiate? So I believe that's a role for regulation. So let me ask you, as an entrepreneur in this sector, are you happy with the level of regulation that is there for this industry? And if not, what changes would you like to see?
I'm not happy. I think that there definitely needs to be more regulation by the government. They need to set up knowledgeable people who can visit these areas, visit these places, give them some sort of certification. You know, I feel like there's a lot lacking there. I think anyone can put up a spa board and open up a spa.
There's nothing stopping them.
There's nothing stopping them, which is quite sad, because it really then, like you said, penalizes the bigger spas that are doing what they say they are doing.
Correct.
And it makes consumers hesitant to go to such places or even say that they're going to such places.
For sure, for sure. And what are the regulations that you actually, as at now, like are there any health sector regulations that come into play? I mean, as someone who is operating a professional spa, Durga, what are the regulations that you have faced and you have come across?
Actually, I think that we faced most of the regulations thanks to COVID. I mean, within salons and spas, we were anyway using personal protective gear. However, I think if certain outlets were not using them, thanks to COVID, they were checked up on.
Correct.
But prior to COVID, they were never checked. How is an outlet's hygiene, their sanitization? Are they following certain techniques? Those things were not being checked up on, and that's something that the Sri Lankan market is lacking, and they require a different body to almost control and regulate this.
Understood.
Or else you will see unfortunate incidents happening from within this sector.
Durga, when you talk about creating your own brand, now in your case, you have also ventured into a cosmetics brand, Goddess Cosmetics, and I believe you're having them manufactured in Sri Lanka. Now, to a large extent, people used to always think, okay, cosmetics have to be imported to Sri Lanka, and that you can't be producing them and you can't compete with global brands, etc. But you kind of decided to go in the other direction of the river, for which we indeed congratulate you. How did that decision come across, and how has that experience been so far?
So actually, we started Goddess Cosmetics as a pre and post care situation for you to take home after your wax. It complements your waxing experience. However, and it was a very small, we weren't giving it a lot of attention, I have to be honest. However, once COVID struck, we realized that our salons, due to being unable to service our clients due to lockdowns, we pushed forward with Goddess Cosmetics, because we felt this is a way we could
stay connected with the
stay
customer.
connected with the consumer, and yet be able to provide her something.
Interesting, interesting indeed. So, when it comes to manufacturing in Sri Lanka, as a manufacturer, because that makes you a manufacturer, yes, what are the challenges that you are facing right now? Because we are aware that it's very difficult to get find some of the required raw material, the components. I believe some of the bases require certain imported material, etc. So, how is your experience? How are you still finding a way to make the cut despite the tough challenges of the economy?
We are finding that hard, to be very honest, but it has also pushed us to use more locally produced raw material, which I also think is fantastic. I mean, we as a brand are very proud to be a local brand. So we're more...
Made in Sri Lanka.
Exactly, we're very proud of that, and we're constantly telling people that we are a proud Sri Lankan brand. So we're now looking at options of completely not using any imported raw material and using locally sourced, fully raw material products to make our products.
And congratulations on that journey once again.
Thank you.
What role does technology play in the wellness sector? Let's talk about that on the other side of this break. This is Bisnomics.
AMW එකෙන් අපි ඕන වාහනයක් ගන්නවා.
පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්න AMW විකුණු පාන විතරක්ම වෙන්නේ නැති ගන්නේ.
ඕන වාහනයක් ගන්නවා.
පරණ වාහනයක්
ගන්නවා.
අම්බානකට දූපු වාහනයක් නම්
මයිලේජ් ජෙනුයින් නම් ගන්නවා.
පාර්ට්ස් හැම හොයාගන්න අමාරු කාර් එකක්.
අවුලක් නෑ ගන්නවා.
සෑහෙන්න මොඩිෆයි කරපු එකක්.
කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ.
සල්ලි ගන්න විකුණනකන් ඉන්න වෙයිනේ.
පැය 3ෙන් සල්ලි දෙනවා.
එතකොට ලීසින් කරලා තිබුණොත්
ලීස් එක සෙටල් කරලා අපි ගන්නවා.
කොකටත් එක ෂුවර් කරගන්න හැබැයි.
AMW වෙතින් ඕනෑම වාහනයක් කරදරයක් නැතුව විකුණ ගන්න. අපෙන් නොගත්තත් අපි ගන්නවා.
Welcome back to Bisnomics, your weekend's most profitable 60 minutes. We are in conversation with Durga Kenny regarding the very important and high potential sector of wellness and the opportunities in this and the way forward. Durga, now we spoke about regulation earlier, but regulation is only one part, when it comes to controlling and making sure the quality is there. I believe the government has a major role to play in terms of a policy, because if you take countries like Indonesia, Thailand, even India, wellness tourism is a key part of the government policy in those countries. You as an entrepreneur in this sector, what do you expect from a government policy for this sector? First of all, do they have a policy right now? If not, what would you expect from a government policy?
I do believe that there were talks of bringing forward a wellness policy, and they've offered, they want to further their Ayurvedic treatments. They want to offer, I think they are offering right now up to masters in Ayurveda, because they want to hold on to this speciality that we do have as a country.
Correct.
And I think they really must focus on that. Hold on to old traditional methods. But however, they need to further educate the therapists and the people that are interested in Ayurveda. They also need to allow the next generation to come forward. They need to encourage them. That I see is lacking. There's no opportunity, and they must give them some kind of way to come forward, because I feel there's a lot of roadblocks. As a manufacturer myself, having come in now into manufacturing, I find there are a lot of roadblocks in trying to get things done. There's a lot of red tape. It's very hard.
No wonder Sri Lanka ranks so low in the ease of business index.
It's so sad. I mean, there's not enough opportunity. The government, I feel, needs to allow the next generation to come forward. Allow new ways, new approaches. There are better ways than the ones we're doing right now.
Correct. So you expect more ease of doing business from the government sector. In terms of promoting Sri Lanka as a wellness destination, do you think that should get integrated into the policy as well?
Yes. But they need to find another way of doing so. However, not just putting it into the policy, but marketing. How are they going to brand it? How are they going to market it? They need to find better ways to attract the consumer.
Correct. So we'll talk about technology now, because the technology that existed when you started the industry about 9 years ago and the technology available now is very different, Durga. And today we speak about social media, but that's on the more promotional front. We're also looking at so much of different technologies that are coming into production and manufacturing. How have you as an entrepreneur embraced technology in this very human touch oriented wellness sector?
That's a hard one. Actually, technology has really helped the wellness sector. It's allowed people to easily stay healthier with fitness apps, to Fitbit trackers, to meals on delivery, meal plans, etc.
Correct.
For my sector, it's been a little hard, I have to admit. I think that now the consumer has more access to us. They're able to reach us freely, easily, look at the services we provide, get help, ask for advice. And we're able to do that with ease now, thanks to technology.
Correct. So technology has been more of a medium where you can much more easily and quickly connect with the consumers and you take your brand out to them and make it more closer to them.
Yes.
I want to also touch upon this aspect of brand building, Durga, because as an entrepreneur, it's not the easiest of things when you have so much of things to do. You have to look into the operations, etc. And then end of the day, you also have to build your brand. And as an entrepreneur, what has your approach been towards building the brand of BWAX? How have you done that?
I love my brand, to be honest. That is the truth. I have absolute nothing but love for it, and I think that's important.
Do you feel it's one of your children?
It is. It's my baby. I have two. But you genuinely have to love what you're doing. You must love it from the bottom. Because if you don't, you won't take it to where you see it going. I think it's so important to have absolute love and dedication to your brand. And then from within you'll be able to build it. You will have the tools within you to build it and take it forward.
And this being a wellness brand, what do you feel, if you look at the brand personality, if BWAX was a person, what kind of a person would it be to the consumer? Is it like a friend, an advisor? Who would it be?
It's like a girlfriend. Yes, yes. Yeah, I think it's like a girlfriend. We're not a very, we're not a very serious sort of...
Not an advocate.
Yeah. We're approachable. And we want to offer you, like I said, going back, an experience. So that's been the forefront for us, offering you an experience.
Interesting. And if you look at the recent import restrictions, Durga, I believe that initially, yes, there would have been certain components, products which you get down from abroad, which a lot of professional spas in Sri Lanka do.
Yes.
But of course, now we see a lot of restrictions on imports and things don't seem to be changing much in the short and medium term. So how has these import restrictions had an impact on you? Because why I'm asking you is, it's very easy to say, okay, all imports restricted, okay, it's good for the economy, etc. But what people don't realize is that there's a lot of services that are provided in this country which rely on certain imported items as a part of the service. So in your experience, what is the impact on you as an entrepreneur by these import restrictions?
So yes, you're right. I mean, initially the price hikes and the restrictions caused price hikes, which we couldn't let that cost fall upon the consumer because for the fear of losing the consumer. However, I have to say that there was a silver lining to this cloud.
Every dark cloud has one, isn't it?
Yes. So what happened with this is that we started manufacturing our own products.
Yes, as you explained.
We adapted to the situation. You have to adapt. Otherwise, you cannot make it. So that's what we did. We adapted to the situation. And we have now found alternative ways should we completely stop receiving these imports and we completely cannot bring down anything. We are ready as a brand.
Understood.
To carry on without the imports.
Durga, when you talk about the journey of an entrepreneur, now a lot of the time we hear the complaint that it's very difficult to balance the business, balance family life. Now you're also a mother of two, I believe, and here you are. You have to manage your family, you have to look after your kids, be there for your husband, and at the same time run the business as well. You have so many employees dependent on you. Definitely sounds like a handful to me. How do you balance it out? Because we talk about work-life balance being one of the greatest challenges for an entrepreneur. And every entrepreneur has a different answer and a different way, which makes the whole topic more interesting. So what is your mantra here?
Wow. Some days you fall short. There's no doubt about it. It's hard to be everything in one. And it's okay. You just need to cut yourself some slack and just take on the next day to the best of your ability. And I have to admit, some days I'm the good boss and the perfect one, in tune with everything, and some days I'm the good mother. So I think that it's most certainly very hard. However, you find balance. And when you're in that moment, you need to make sure whatever moment that is, you're giving it your all. So if you're spending time with your kids, even if it's 10 minutes, it should be solid 10 minutes.
Be there in body and mind.
Exactly, which is very hard. Because that I also will admit, as an entrepreneur, your mind is constantly working.
Correct.
So be it 10, 11 in the night, unlike your employees, you are working out what's going to happen, what are we going to do tomorrow. It's part and parcel. So, so sadly, there's no shutdown. You're constantly working, your mind's constantly working. I think the only time possibly is when you're sleeping.
But even up to the point of sleeping, do you find sometimes yourself falling asleep but thinking of something in the business?
Yes, and then waking up. Yes, exactly. I mean, I don't know what it is. It's non-stop.
All right. But when you're doing something in mind and in body, 100% be there, be in that moment.
Be in that moment. I mean, especially with your kids. You know, you need to give them that. And they want that, even if it's 5 minutes.
Durga, on a final note, let's talk about advice from you for any young female entrepreneurs who are out there who are maybe just out of school or who maybe are working somewhere, but they're also planning out their next career move and they want to be an entrepreneur. What is your advice to them?
Go for it. That is my advice. But you need to be passionate about it. You can't be half-hearted about it. And you need to have that hunger for it. That is my secret. I want to be better tomorrow. I want my brand to grow bigger. So it's that constant hunger and need. I think that's important. It's almost like a fire in you.
You let that fire burn.
Exactly. And many people will tell you otherwise. Sometimes people may not see your dream, but it's important that you stay focused and consistent.
And what happens if you fail? Or, for example, if you have a bad day or if you have a bad moment or you try to, I'm sure in your journey as well, there would have been certain efforts and attempts you tried to go for it, but it didn't just happen. How do you really pull up yourself and be there the next day?
That's hard. Some days are hard. But you do it. You get up and you just keep going. And you fail sometimes, but those are lessons. And you get up and you try to do it better the next day. And that's all it is. And what's meant for you in life, if you work hard, will come to you. The universe will give you that.
Interesting thoughts indeed. Durga Kenny, thank you so much for having joined us today and for sharing your valuable thoughts. I believe the wellness sector has tremendous potential, and the ideas, the lessons that you shared with us definitely would have inspired more members of our audience to be entrepreneurs in this sector and take this industry forward, which has so much potential, as you said. But we need entrepreneurs like you coming forward and taking their ventures, and along with that, taking the wellness industry in Sri Lanka forward as well. Thank you so much and wish you good luck with all your future endeavors.
Thank you for having me.
A $4 trillion global opportunity. That is what the wellness sector offers you. Are you ready to be an entrepreneur in that and make your mark? I'm quite sure the thoughts shared by our esteemed guest, Durga Kenny, would have helped you to understand where the opportunities are and what you need to do to take your venture in this industry forward. I'm Tharandu Amarasekara, and I will see you with the next episode of Bisnomics. And no matter what business you may be in, have a profitable week ahead.